All right, I'm super excited to have Tree on the Passion Beyond the Art show. Like, dude is an incredible illustrator, and as I dig deep, he's definitely a lot of his illustrations, his world is influenced by his musical journey. So, Tree, welcome to the show, man.
Thank you for having me. Thank you, DP. You reached out via Instagram, and I was able to check you guys out, and I was like, yo, I'd love to get on and talk with you. So I appreciate you for having me on.
For sure, man. Of course, I'm biased. Like anytime I see a brother doing something awesome, I'm gonna like see if I could put them on. But the privilege is actually mine. Like, dude, I would say like I saw one of your videos talking about like a tool. I think it was Illustrator. Like talking about Illustrator tool, and I was like, okay, this is cool. Let me check him out. And I was like, boof, this just incredible illustration. Kind of jump in and let me know how did your creative journey start?
Well, it started a long time ago in Michigan, actually. I used to always just draw comic book stuff. Like, so I was in the comic books a lot. Batman, Superman. I was a huge Batman fan. My mom used to always put on like, before the Batman animated series that came out. I used to watch the Adam West Batman. So like I
Oh,
was so I was super into Batman and superheroes. So I just used to like to draw everything that I seen. And then I was a Disney kid, so all of the Disney movies I would redraw. On the VHSs they would have the cover art and stuff on there. So I would take the cover art and I would redraw it. And I thought I wanted to work for Disney one day and be a Disney animator and stuff. So that's kind of how it started. And then as I got into middle school, I started like drawing for clothes and making art for clothes because I was not able to get the clothes that I wanted. So like I would have to draw stuff that looked cool that I wanted to wear. So that's kind of how the whole journey started with the superheroes and then drawing and stuff.
but I saw that you kind of went into kind of like the music route. So when you were in that music route, did you kind of like put illustrating to the side? How did that transition happen?
Yeah, you know what? I moved out to California when I was 17, and immediately when I came out here, I was like fresh out of college, going to another college. And when I started FITM, I moved into a place called Oakwood Apartments. And anybody that has been out in California and LA, they might know a little bit about Oakwood Apartments. All the celebrities would stay there. So when I lived there, it was a bunch of different celebrities that stayed there. And it happened to be a time period when 3 6 Mafia was staying there and they
Mm.
had a party like the weekend after I think I moved, and I got invited to it and I got to freestyle with them. And one of the members of 3 6 Mafia was like, you need to rap. I don't know what you doing, but you need to rap. And I was like, I'm a designer, man. I make clothes. They're like, no, you need to rap. So that kind of like gave me some inspiration, being told by somebody who's in the industry
Right, right,
that
right.
has had humongous success that like, man, this is something that could actually be possible for me. And it was second nature to just come off the top of the dome and just spit. You
Right,
know what I
right,
mean?
right,
So
right.
like that's easier than sitting down and concentrating and drawing. You know what I mean? Like, so when you're younger, you want to take the easy route with everything. So it seemed like it was easier at the time. So that's kind of what got me into music. And then being around so many musical people at that place, um, I was just inspired and I wanted to do music too. So I never really put it to the side.
Mm,
I just kind of, I just kind of like allow room for music to come in too. You know
mm.
what I mean? Like
Okay.
I've always done multiple things. It's just like, we eat, we sleep, we drink. It's not like, oh, I'm just gonna drink, liquids unless you want to fast or something. Like, and I'm not gonna eat. But I feel like that's how art is to me. It's just another aspect of life. So I do them all, and that could put you in some trouble when it comes to social media and the way that everything is kind of like outlined for you to
Mhm,
to move, because everything is like niche based. Like
mhm,
if it's not your niche, you don't want to do this
mhm,
because you want people to know you for this one thing,
mhm.
and then once you build that, then you can show them other things. And I always cite Kanye West as an example because I feel like he did it really great because he focused on being a producer first. Don't nobody really wanted him to rap, but he knew the whole time he was gonna be one of the dopest. So he kept pushing his raps, and eventually people accepted him for his raps, and then he took over with the raps. Then after that, he was like, "Well, I got designs too, so I want to show you these designs." And then he started making shoes, and then we got the Yeezys, and then he's like, "I want to produce homes, and I want to do construction and all this type of architecture type stuff." So then he started doing that. So it's it's a way that you have to do it that people will accept it. And I didn't know that at the time. So
Mm,
I was just doing everything.
right.
And I was spreading myself too thin at the time. But that's kind of how I did that.
So how did when was the like the aha moment where you kind of like started funneling down and kind of then kind of breaking things out in your words the right way?
I think COVID
Mm,
after like during COVID, because before COVID I was doing my clothing line. I was performing in LA. I was opening up for different people in LA, and we were doing really well with the music thing, and I was having a lot of fun. We had opened up for Game, opened up for Lupe Fiasco. We opened up for Casey Veggies. Who else? A lot of different people, and then I was also doing my own shows, and things were going really well. But it was just like I wasn't really getting no sleep. I had a full time job. I was a designer at Dreesy Advertising, so I worked that job. So I just felt like I was just killing myself, and I didn't know what I was doing anything for no more. So it was almost like I was forced to choose. Like you got to pick something and do that one thing, because you can't do all of this. And I was unable to build a team, because in LA it's like a lot of everybody wants to do something. So like nobody wants to be led, and it's hard to create a team when everybody want to
mm,
be that guy. It's like G Unit, you know what I'm saying? Like everybody want to be 50 Cent, but everybody not working like 50 Cent.
mm,
So I felt like within my group, I was more or less working the hardest and putting out the most, getting the most return for what I was doing. But then people were like, "Yo, let me take the lead. Let me, you know what I mean?" It was like, "What's the plan?"
mm,
So it was hard to put a group together, a team to actually work all of these different spaces out. So I just had kept scaling back and just learning more, and had to kind of be quiet and be silent. And COVID made me be quiet and be silent, because I was in the house, you know what I mean? I didn't have to deal with people. So that's when I kind of start restructuring and figuring out, well, what do I want to do with my life as I age, as I get older? What can I continue to do? Because do I want to be on stages and in clubs and all this type of stuff in the next 10 years, or do I want to be somewhere different? So, and what is making me the happiest?
mm,
I started thinking about that too, and going back to my childhood where I was telling you about all of the Batman, and that made me happy.
mm,
And it was like a lot of times within the industry, it's certain things that make you happy, but it's not really good things. You know what I'm saying? The excitement of being around a lot of people and being around women, and all of the things that come with that lifestyle is kind of cool, but then it's chaotic. You know what I mean? And it's like I don't want to continue to be in that chaotic situation. I want to mature. I've always looked at like Disney as an inspiration, and what they did as a company, as far as like building a major production company, and that's where my goals start aligning. So I start going in that direction.
yeah, that's awesome. So kind of break down your kind of like your for lack of a better word like your empire right now. Break down like what's the main revenue generator and kind of like let us know like what are the different things that you're kind of building from that.
Yeah, for sure. So right now, the main thing that's bringing in the majority of the income is illustration and design work. So, as people know, or you may or may not know, I animate, I illustrate, and I design clothes. So I started doing a lot of designs for other people. Afion Crockett being one of the people that I was able to link up with. He's a comedian and actor, great, great dude. And I started doing different things with him. He started wearing some of my clothes. In the BET Awards, he did a BET cipher wearing one of my hoodies, and then he did a special, and then I did his clothes for the special, his top. And so as I started getting into that, I started seeing that I could become a service brand where I served other people, because I grew up in the age of Fubu, Mecca, Nietzsche, and like not cross colors really. That was a little before my time.
Sean
But
John, I don't know if we want to
John
rep. I
John,
don't know
yeah,
if we want to rep that.
yeah, you feel me?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
like all of and those brands had like a huge run, and I'm looking at how those brands built, and I wanted that, but you don't see that no more.
Right.
All of those brands are gone. Like Fat Farm not around.
Yeah, facts.
Like all of the brands that was around at that time, they pretty much not around. Like even Rough Riders had a brand, and they was kind of dope for a while. So I started realizing like, yo, it's time to change my mind state on things because the way that the world is moving is not the same. So everybody is about me, me, me. They want something for themselves. And everybody's having a personal business or a personal brand, and everybody is learning that they are a brand.
Mm.
So with that, they need representation, and with the aid of technology coming in, where the AI and all this stuff is coming in, it has the potential for greatness, but it also has the potential for mediocrity because it's like a flat line of creativity and everything looks the same. So when you got the ability to make stuff look different and use the AI stuff as a tool, you got an advantage. So I started looking at that, and I started just basically creating for other people. People like limited edition things that they can't get in bulk. So our whole thing is limited edition. So that's why it's Brilliance Limited, because everything that I produce is limited. So we'll do limited edition drops. We're actually working on a limited edition drop for Afion Crockett based off of the movie that he just did,
Mm.
A Hip Hop Story.
Nice.
So we created jackets and two different jackets with two different characters on there that I illustrated, and it's gonna be patches on the jacket. And like as an example, like this is the type of patchwork that I'm
Nice.
creating, and you could heat press this on and put it on a garment, and then you'll go ahead and just embroider around the outside of it so that it doesn't come off. And this is actually glow in the dark, so you cut out the lights, this thing glows in the dark. So we're creating pieces like that for people and just pushing the realm of creativity. So that's what really brings in the majority of the attention. And that's because you could charge a lot to customize somebody's stuff, and when you really know what you're doing, they willing to pay. So that's really the main
Hmm.
the main thing right now. While I'm doing that, we're also building the other side of paradise, which is my graphic novel, and what started out as my album, shifting into this whole thing, and now we want to make it into a animated series and a graphic novel first. We want to test it out with the audiences and make sure that the storyline is up to par before we move into animation. And that's what we're doing a graphic novel for. And in the meantime, showing this whole process to everybody that's watching me, people are like, can you do my graphic novel? So in the meantime, I'm able to learn the process by doing jobs for other people and perfect the process for me when it finally becomes my turn. So that's in a nutshell
Well, that's
what's.
awesome, man. I'm pretty. This is pretty impressive. So tell me a little bit about the backstory of the graphic novel.
Okay, so the backstory with that is crazy because that came from the album that I was working on, The Other Side of Paradise. So the whole time I made I think I made like three mixtapes while I was doing music really heavily. And then after that I was like, yo, I want to make an album. And I started getting some momentum out here, and I was like, I think we could really push an album. And I was looking to get signed by a record label. At the time I was working with a producer, and me and him had a real close relationship. And sometimes you think that you're friends with somebody and you're not really friends. You don't really know that until money coming away. So once things started kind of moving, we had the video called Windows, and it was like probably one of my more what you call it, like I don't want to say pop songs, but I kind of get deep on my records, like Absol and
Hmm.
Kendrick Lamar. Like I be rapping.
Hmm.
So like that song was like, all right, I gotta touch people, and I can't go over people's heads. I want to make sure that I do something surface level that still has a deeper meaning behind it. So we shot a video for Windows, and after that, we were supposed to be releasing the album, but the album got held up because he decided that he wanted to have half of my masters, and this was something that we never discussed. Before, the majority of the music that I brought to him was already produced. It was already done. He might have added some drums to some of the beats, some of the songs he actually produced, but like the majority of the stuff, it wasn't nothing that he should have had the masters for. But when you record with somebody, what that is the master.
Hmm.
So they have the master recording. So when I re-recorded my work in his studio, now he has all of my files. And by an act of God, I guess I would say, I asked him to give me a copy of everything. And I got a copy of the majority of the work that I did with him, but not every single song. But I had enough to basically start off and go off on my own. So I decided, instead of releasing a project and giving him half of the masters because he didn't deserve it, and I paid him, mind you, I paid him for his time and what he did on all my projects. So he was the only one that really got paid. I haven't received any money back. I'm working 20-hour shifts. You know what I'm saying? I'm paying him. I'm doing shows. I'm paying him to perform with me on my shows. So you're getting paid. I'm getting nothing. And I'm trying to build this business. And all I'm doing is shelling out money. And I'm a type of artist. I like musicianship. So I would have other artists that play instruments on stage with me. And I would be paying them too. So I'm just shelling out all this money, but it's no income coming in. It's just coming out. And the only reason why I was able to sustain is because I had a good job. So
Mm.
that put me in a space after I had that falling out with him that I was like, well, what could I do with this project? Because it's so massive and it was such a great story that I was telling in this music that I still wanted it to be told. And I was like, these stories are so deep that they could be like a cartoon or animated series. And I started thinking differently and I started formulating. And I was like, well, instead of it being an album, what if it's a soundtrack? And every season we get a new soundtrack and that's the new album. You know what I mean? So that's how that came about. And yeah,
That's dope. No joke. That's dope. I love that idea actually.
thanks, bro.
All right,
Yeah.
so out of this entire process, who would you say was like, Tree's backbone, the person that encouraged you, inspiration? Like, who was that person in your life to say, okay, nah, bro, I got
Mm.
you.
It's a couple different people, man. I think the main support system for me was my father, for
Mm,
sure. My father always like he's the reason why I did everything that I'm doing now. Like, cause he worked at Ford, and my dad is one of those people. Like, he's just a great individual, a great man, and he's somebody that you will follow his example because he just got a great way about himself. So I always looked up to him, and since he worked at Ford, I was like, well, I can go work at Ford too. If you work at Ford, you know what I'm saying? I work at Ford too. I do what my dad do. And he like, nah, bro, you don't want to work there. And he took me to, they had a kid come to work with you day or whatever. I forgot what they called it. A kid come to
Yeah,
work day or
yeah,
something like
I
that.
know what you're talking about.
Yeah, so I went with him and I seen how the plant was, and I was like, nah, I don't want to do that. That shit crazy. I mean, that stuff crazy. My bad. I didn't mean to curse.
Nah, you
And
good.
so so once I realized that, he was like, whatever you want to do, I'm gonna support you. If you want to go to school and all these types of things, he always was pushing whatever. What do you want to do? Because he didn't get to do what he wanted to do. He wanted to be a lawyer, he wanted to
Mm,
be a chef, and he wasn't able to do these things. And we was actually a part of a religion at the time. I was a Jehovah's Witness growing up,
mhm,
and they didn't really push education
mhm,
like that. Not extra education, like, oh, graduate school and all of that, but anything outside of that, it's not really necessary. Just focus on serving God
mhm,
and all of that. So for him to be, and he was an elder too, so for him to be so supportive of me, it was really like amazing because
mhm,
it was like he knew what I needed
mhm,
and he wasn't gonna let nothing come in the way of that. So he supported me. My grandma was super supportive of me too, and my girl Mohini has been my rock
that's awesome.
throughout my adult life. And I met her when I was in elementary school, and she's been one of those people that has believed in me, from day one. So yeah, I'll have to say
That
those
is,
three
bro,
people
that's
is
that's an awesome support system. I love that. I love that. So let's jump into some easy questions. What's that thing you can't live without that's not your phone?
a sound mind.
Elaborate.
I mean, if you don't have a sound mind and you dealing with all of the things that I've dealt with, being from the music industry, business, um, religion, dealing with different people's strong belief systems, if your mind is not strong, you can't live. Period.
Mm,
So I think for me, having a peaceful mindset and knowing how to reset my mind and to be happy up in here and to be peaceful up in here, that resonates throughout everything that I do.
that's awesome.
Because when I went through what I went through with that music stuff, that was real hard for me, and I
Mhm,
was I was really upset. And coming from Inkster, Michigan, Detroit, like I seen a lot of people do violent things when stuff like that was kind of taken from them, and those thoughts will run through your mind, and you battling so many emotions and stuff like that. And I just decided to change my perspective. And for me, throughout my journey, changing my perspective has been my saving grace.
Mm,
So I think having a sound mind is something that I definitely couldn't live without, because you have to be able to let stuff go. You have to be able to see the bigger picture and just kind of back away from the lens every now and then and kind of see what's really going on. So I think that's something I couldn't live without.
that's awesome. That's a good one. That's a unique one. No one has ever said it. You're the first to say something like that. So I'll take that. I'll
Really?
take, yeah, for sure. It's always like a product or a dog or a blanket. I've heard some crazy stuff. So like that's pretty deep. That's pretty deep. All right. So book recommendations. Top two, top three. If it's only one, all
Right
good.
now, right now, I'm reading this book called The YouTube Formula
Mm,
by Daryl E. And that book has been amazing. He actually has a online course that comes with it too. So I'm one of those people. I like to listen to audiobooks all the time. So like when I wake up in the morning, I get to jogging and running and exercising and stuff. And when I do, I put on some type of audiobook. So I've been listening to his audiobook, and I like to let it sit in the first time, just on the first listen.
hmm.
Then I go back and I read it, physically with my eyes, and I listen to it at the same time. A lot of times I have to go through stuff 3 or 4 times because it don't stick. And we get bombarded with information every
True.
single day. So stuff goes in and comes out, and you don't know what to prioritize in your mind because we kind of getting fed information all day long. So that book right there is a great book. This book right here has also been amazing, by Alex Hermosi. He has another book called Offers. So those are kind of like in my rotation right now, and I'm kind of just soaking in those books right now, because business is the language that we need to learn how to speak. Like we've been creative,
Facts.
especially us as a people. Like we've created damn near everything.
Hmm.
So like when you think about the creative part, we got that down. It's the business part that we had a problem with, which is why the
100%.
industry is steal from you and
Hmm.
take your money and stuff
Hmm.
like that. So I've been really concentrating on those type of books, because I realize that it's something that we don't really necessarily like because we're not used to it. So I'm trying to make it so common in my mind to understand it. And what we doing with social media right now is a huge thing. So like if you able to figure out how to use the YouTube algorithm to create attention on products. Like people talk about how traditional art, we need to be pure and this and this and that. But my biggest video right now, even I think even you said you noticed me from it, was the one when I talked about AI. You know what I mean? So it's like, and then the other videos that I put out that's traditional, they don't got this much love and support as
Hmm.
that video did. So it's interesting how people actually, it's a lot that people say, but you got to watch what people do.
Do
So when you
100%.
start learning business, you start seeing like, okay, if I talk about this, this is going to create a conversation and this is going to bring attention. And then once people see it, like then at the end of the video, they can see my actual art. And they're like, dang, your art is dope. But if I wouldn't have even said nothing about AI, they never even would have seen my traditional art.
For sure. For sure.
So it's a weird way of how things work. But those books is my top right now.
It's funny you said that. Like if I've done a workshop or a short talk, I've always said like, think about what you're regularly doing. Like, I know you want to think that people are looking at what you're selling and because you're saying buy this, buy this, buy this, or whatever the case may be, but what are actually you're doing? If you watch what you're doing, that's what I'm guaranteed that's what other people are doing too. Because that, what are we mostly looking up now? We looking up AI, we're looking up like just tools, all of that stuff. So I mean, it's just sometimes when you are the one that's building the thing, you forget how regular people operate.
Yeah, for sure. No, you right on point with that. And then everybody's looking for a way to do something easier and to save more time. It's like somebody was like, "Well, what are you gonna do with the extra time?" And I was like, "I don't even know what extra time is. What are you talking about? Like, just look at my profile and look at how much stuff that I do. I'm producing music. I actually produce the music, like actually produce the music back there on the machines. You know what I'm saying? Then I write the music, then I record the music, then I make the cartoons, then I do stuff for other people, then I make my own clothes, make my own patches. What are you talking about extra time? You know what I mean? Like people ask silly questions all the time, and it's like it's funny because it's just like you can't take advice from people that haven't done what you've done.
Or trying to do, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
If
can't.
you haven't accomplished certain things and you don't know nothing about it, you can't think you have a place to say something about it. Like it's people that have millions of dollars, and I'm not ever speaking on nothing that they do until I get millions of dollars because I don't understand that world yet.
You don't know what
I'm not
that
in it.
feels like.
Yeah, I don't. You know what I'm saying? It's different pressures that come with that. Like it's like when I would deal with people in the industry, it was like things that I knew behind, like from being behind the scenes, and people would be like, "Oh, this person's a sellout," and like, bro, you don't have no idea what that person went through, and you just talking, and you ain't accomplished nothing. Go do something, then come back and talk. You can't just be out here doing nothing with a whole bunch to say. And it's like social media makes people feel like just because they can get on their phone and make a video that they opinion is valid.
Hmm. My boy on the soapbox right now. Let's go. I'm feeling it.
I'm just saying,
Nah,
like
it's
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 so real.
it's real. It's real talk.
And then we need to really humble all of us need to humble ourselves.
Right.
I'm not trying to say like I know everything or
Hmm.
anything like that because I don't. I'm just saying like I've done a lot though, and I've done it all by myself, and that's why can't nobody play me when it comes to certain stuff because I know how to do it. I actually did it with my own hands. So when somebody come in there and tell me this costs this much to do this, no, it don't.
Mm.
I did that yesterday. You know what I'm saying? So
I feel you, man. All right. So, what's the first hour of this creative day like?
every day, man, I get up and I go work out. Like I said, listen to the audio book, any audio book that I'm listening to at the time, and then I try to make a list of things that I'm grateful for to get my feelings in check because you are how you feel.
Mm.
So I try to get into a state of feeling good before I even get to the workout stage, and then I do that workout, and then usually ideas come to me as I'm running. So I start jotting down the ideas, and I do that for at least an hour or 2 hours every morning. Try to get up at like 4 o'clock,
Let's
and then be
go,
done by 6.
bro. That's respect because like no matter what time you go to bed, like 4 o'clock is early. No matter what time you go to bed, you not gonna feel jumping up 4 o'clock looking around like it's early. No matter what time you go
Yeah.
to bed.
But when you trying to get it and you realize that life is only like and you start getting up in age and you start looking at older people that you seen be young, get old, you start realizing time ain't nothing to play with. So it's like it ain't nothing to waste. So every day I'm trying to get up and get as much done as I can before I leave. Like it's what we
Mm.
leave behind.
Right,
And it's like you can't take none of this with you.
right.
All you can do is learn what you can while you're here and try to pass that on to the next generation and influence people in a positive way so that they can have a dope experience with this thing called life. And the only way to do that is to cherish my time and to wake up and be up earlier than everybody else and working harder than everybody else. If you want to get places that other people can't get, you got to do things that other people don't do.
Mm. That's a bar right there. I love that. All right, so what's next? I know you're working on the graphic novel. You're working on
Mhm.
the limited launches. Is there anything next?
Yeah, we actually have been really working on a website to optimize everything for people that want to come work with me. So I've been updating the website for the services, and we also have some products that are really exciting in the tech space that I've been working on.
Nice.
So I'm not, yeah, I can't get into all of the details of those yet, but it's gonna be mind blowing, and it's definitely gonna change the game for like artists and creatives and people like that. So we just working on expanding everything that we're doing and building our resume. I want to be more um, consistent with YouTube. Like that's why I'm into this YouTube book right now. I'm going to concentrate on YouTube a lot more and concentrate on really building a community where people actually understand what I'm doing and I can start building that team that is needed in order to go to these next levels because we can't do anything alone. I wear a lot of hats, but it's not because I want to, it's because I have to.
Right.
And when I don't have to, I won't wear those hats no more and I'll be more of a director of things, whether of a doer, as much of a doer as I am of things. So I just kind of been working on that and trying to pace myself to where I don't feel overwhelmed, but I don't feel like I'm moving too slow.
I love that. I love that. All right, so where can people go to find you and learn more about you?
They can definitely go to blmtd.com. That's our website. You can follow me on Instagram at Tree of Life and at Brilliance Limited. And I'm on TikTok as well. So any of the social medias, pretty much, I'm there. But I'm mostly on Instagram and TikTok and YouTube, and I'm gonna try to focus on those three. But if anybody wants to contact me, you can go to blmtd.com.
I love that. I love that, dude. I really appreciate you coming on, dropping knowledge, and just sharing your journey, man.
Thank you, man. I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you reaching out and having great questions and good energy. It's always good to, connect with people that got good energy and continue to build. We build in a community together. So I'm here to build with you and you build it with me, and whatever I can do to kind of assist and help your journey as well, let me know.
Facts, bro. This is just the beginning.
For sure.